Hi everyone, Trip Switches here with another Fantasy Premier League video. This is for Game Week 12, little preview and some strategies of what I'm thinking. I'm top 150k as you can see there, overall rank with 694 points. So I'm doing okay. And I did a video during the week and I'm going to tell you some problems that I have with that video. So first off, goalkeeper. We're not set and forget here. We have Dean Henderson. Really have to get a better keeper. I'm not happy with just getting 2 points a week, so I have to look better. But I see the alternatives being, Fleck, and he's not doing much better. I'm half thinking, like, I'd love to get to Ray. Ray would be ideal. I won't get the budget for him. So, like, the problem I have is the solution to this isn't great. And the solution that I sussed about the other week was selling Halland. It would free up so much funds, like so much funds, it's unbelievable. The problem is who you sell Halland for. Like I see, he's one of the most sold players now over the last couple of weeks because of his kind of low scoring, you know, pointers over the last couple of games. But to be honest, he scored one against Southampton. He scored one against Brighton. Okay, they're the kind of games where you'd expect him to get three or four. You know, the Wolves game, not picking up anything. Fulham not picking up anything. You were expecting 10 pointers minimum in these games. Even the Bournemouth loss 2-1, not picking up anything, is not great. The problem with it is, we would have had at the start of the year, you've 17, 17, and 13. Not having Halland, those points are going to rack up on you quick. So I'd be a little bit weary of having one of the highest scoring premiums playing against, you know, decent teams, but he can pick it up. Like he scored against Chelsea already. Okay, it was only a 7 pointer. We got 9 against Arsenal, so he can do it against the big teams. Halland is Halland, so I wouldn't be too. I'm real cautious about selling them. My move last week was this. It was get rid of Halland. This is what I was thinking about. Sorry, not last week, earlier in the week. My move was Halland out, Isaac in, right? I want to do it on this here, so we have it. We know exactly what we're doing. So we're going Newcastle. We're putting Isaac in. Okay, this is exactly the move that I was talking about. Great move. And then I can get McNeil and I can go to Fernandez, which is really who I want. I more so than I want Halland. I'm thinking Fernandez for the next two games. This is where I'm going to be hurt. You know, I'm going to be hurt against Ipswich, possibly Everton, but then he's got Arsenal, Forest, and City. So the three after the next two aren't great, but I would like to have this for the next two. The problem with this is only good for the next two fixtures. So after that, uh, Fernandez is going to Arsenal away, then Forest at home, then City, as we talked about. Isaac has got Liverpool at home and then Brentford away, which is fine. Brentford away is decent at home, but I still think Newcastle win that. And then they go on to a really good run of fixtures. Okay, so they go, Leicester, Ipswich, Aston Villa at home, and I'm calling Aston Villa at home a good fixture because they're kind of burned out at the minute. But what we're ignoring is from week 18 on, right? You must have Halland. You want to get Halland in for Everton away. So if I do this, which I'm really thinking about, I was talking about, it's going to cost me 4. It gets me Fernandez. It gets me Isaac for West Ham at home, who are really out of form at the minute. It skips the Tottenham home game and the Liverpool away game that Halland would have. So it skips those two fixtures. Then I can maybe jump back if this lines up, which it does fixture wise. It's just about not having any transfers to make in between, building up 2 free transfers. Isaac to Halland again, and then I've got to get Bruno Fernandes into somebody else, which would probably be back to like a McNeil in or around price. That's the move I'm thinking. I'm keeping the budget of 3.9 in the bank because obviously, like Halland is so expensive. He hasn't really dropped much. Like even though he's one of the most sold players, he's still 15.2 million. Like it makes me want to cry with the fact he's so sold, but he's just so he's a player who's going to be held really really well. So making that change is costing me. I'm holding Areola through this, and this is silly as well because ever since the Tottenham game he hasn't got a game, so this is one of those where he's not good, but he was one of the season's best assets last year. I should have jumped off him, saved the money, got someone else. I really should have. Uh, he's dropping in value every week now, and it's nearly at the stage where there's no point in dropping off him anymore. The two Leicester defenders, again, they're not great. I'm happy enough having these three. Ant Nuri, Robinson, and Miklienko. Kuna, as I discussed, is a great one for the next run of fixtures. And what I will do is from 19 onwards, when his fixtures kind of turn, I'm looking at going from Kuna to Jimenez. If you look at the fixtures for Fulham from 19 onwards, so I don't mind having the two Fulham assets. I'll have something similar to the way I have two Wolves assets now. I'd be looking at a possible treble up for week 19 onwards with Fulham because their games turn into Bournemouth at home, Ipswich at home, or two home fixtures straight away. Then they have West Ham away, Leicester at home. Then it goes Man United, Newcastle, Nottingham Forest. But four games in a row that have four really decent fixtures lining up. That's nice. Palace has something similar. From 19 on, it's obviously most people are targeting Southampton right now. So Palace have Southampton at home, then Chelsea at home. So obviously don't go too far. But then you're looking at Leicester, West Ham, Brentford, Man United, and Everton. So there's a nice run of games there where if you've Eze on, if you can get to him, like Eze's price is fairly down. So Eze is on my transfer in list for week 19. So I have to think Eze, Jimenez, and then like there can be different kind of players that we're looking at. Chelsea's fixtures really good. Brighton's aren't too bad. Aston Villa's are very good, but Aston Villa just haven't been on form. Like Aston Villa from week 19 have Brighton at home, Leicester at home, Everton away. Then they've Arsenal for a break, so you'd have to use your bench probably that week. But then it's West Ham, Wolves, and Ipswich. So out of that, they have what, four home games out of six really good games. So if it's a case where you're looking at fixtures from those, Aston Villa are a team to be looking at. Chelsea are another one. Stay away from Everton. Look at Fulham. Liverpool's fixtures aren't bad either. So, but I've got problem with Liverpool is if you have Salah, you really have their attack covered because even if he's not involved, he's still involved. Having Salah is just so valuable right now. Yeah, even when he's not on form, he just pops up and scores. So Salah's a must-have. I feel anyway. And from 19 on, like the likes of Kuna and Nori were going to be highly sold because Wolves fixtures from then on is Tottenham away, Nottingham Forest, Newcastle, Chelsea, Arsenal, Aston Villa, and Liverpool. Those fixtures are pretty much without throwing City in there. Maybe if City were in instead of Aston Villa, that's about the hardest run of fixtures you could have. But I don't fancy having Kuna or Antony for that. He's not going to get too many points. Nottingham Forest's fixtures from 19 onwards are really good as well. So if I could get Archer to Wood for those, they've got Everton, Wolves, then they've got Liverpool. So I don't mind. To be honest, I don't mind playing. I don't mind playing Wood against Liverpool. He's a big centre forward. He can score against anyone. Then they've got Southampton at home, Bournemouth, and Brighton. Newcastle's fixtures again are good. Again, they've got Southampton. So I'm kind of looking at the teams that are going to be playing Southampton over this. You know, their Crystal Palace have them, Nottingham Forest have them. Any any team that has Southampton, Man United have them as well. Any team that have Southampton in this run of fixtures, you probably want to have someone in there from them. I know Brentford also have them, but Brentford's fixtures are terrible for this. I'm probably looking at going from Bumu to Eze for this run of form. If Eze can get back, get fit, and be the player that we thought he was going to be at the start of the year, that's when you want to have him. Is from 19 onwards. Just it's probably an in and an out. If you do it at 19, Crystal Palace have Southampton, so you'll get him in for that, and then you probably want to take him back in for 20 because Brentford have them, and then go back to Eze for Leicester away. It kind of avoids the Chelsea game that Palace have in the middle. It's a little bit of a. It'll avoid. Okay, so this move, although it wastes a transfer or two transfers, sorry, it'll avoid Brentford playing Arsenal at home and trade that off for Eze, who has Palace at home. And then if you trade back to Mbumu, they'll have Southampton away, which will avoid Palace having Chelsea at home. Then you trade back, right? So this is the third transfer, same player. So you go back from Mbumu to Eze, who will then that'll avoid Man City at home and Liverpool at home. But you don't make any more changes now for a while because then you'll have Leicester away, West Ham away, Brentford at home, Man United then away, and Everton at home. Now, the Man United game, you can look at other options if you want. Villa have Wolves away that week. But as I said, the Villa fixtures are actually quite good. So if you want, you can jump off Eze maybe that week. Avoid Everton at home and just go Wolves away and then Ipswich at home. Use your Aston Villa assets that week maybe. Southampton's games are quite good from 19 onwards. So as I said at the start of the video, I'm top 150k. I'm kind of looking at transfers more long term than medium term. So when I'm doing my transfers, I don't just look. Although I'm looking at Fernandez in now, and so is Isaac in now. These players from 19 onwards have really good fixtures. You know, they've got a run of 4 fixtures that you want to have, and I know Halland does as well. But I'm thinking I could get more points across. Like you want to have Halland from 18. It is just a it's just a thing that has to happen because 19 you can jump off Bruno Fernandes because he'll have Newcastle and then Liverpool. But then you want him back because he's got the Southampton at home. He has Brentford. Sorry, he's got Southampton and Brighton, not Brentford. Then he's got Fulham and Palace. I don't mind Fulham. I think Fulham you can score against. They're a very good playing team, but they concede. So I think that's what we got to be looking at. The yellow flags at the minute, I wouldn't worry about too much. That's just my thought process. Captaincy, right? The armband's currently on Salah, and it's going to be hard to take it off him. But the only player I would consider anywhere is Palmer. Or if I make that change and put in, if I don't have Halland, and I do put in Fernandez, sorry, I have to get rid of McNeil. But that, as a team, I think looks a lot more solid and set up. The only thing I have to be aware of is Kevin De Bruyne comes back and things just suddenly change. Like if I don't have Haaland for game week 19 on, like I have to make 2 transfers then. So I have to be thinking, right, okay, from game week 19, I'm probably gonna have to have Chris Wood. Now I would get Semenyo up to an Eze, which would keep Mbumo, and then I just bench them around that to save the transfer, to bench them around those City and Arsenal games that I was trying to avoid. So sorry, it's Chelsea and Arsenal that I'm trying to avoid. So it would get rid of a headache for me doing that. And just banking that Bruno Fernandes and Isaac would be better in the long term than a Halland. Because you have to watch, like, not having Halland and the amount of people that hold Halland and captain Halland and just set and forget. But Halland, your captain, week in, week out, he gets the 17 pointer. And I have maybe Bruno Fernandes who gets 2 points, say, captain Iron Man, so I'll get 4. And I'll drop rank really quickly. Um, so I don't want to do that. It does also allow me, who I wouldn't mind having, is getting to Nick Pope. I could get from Areola to Pope nice and easily. I could take advantage of Pope's easy fixtures, with Wolves all the way down. And for the City game, I would just bench Pope and play Henderson. So I'd have Everton at home instead of City. So these two actually line up really nicely. So that would leave still 3.2 million. So even with Semenyo, right, that's 8.8 million. So I could get Eze if I wanted. Like look at the options here in midfield. If I just go to midfielders with 8.8 million, I already have Salah, I have Palmer, I have Mbumu. I don't have Saka, and I can't get to Saka, who would be who you want to have. The thing about Saka is you want to time it, and it's actually hard to time when you want him because you want him for week 18, right? And the earlier you get Saka, the better. You want to get him after 14. You want to get him from 16, 17, and 18 realistically. If you can get him from 13 and somehow bench him maybe against United at home, it doesn't matter playing him against Fulham away. If you can do that, you're completely set. But I don't think I'm going to get. I don't think I'm going to get Saka. I think I can forget about that. But I could go to Smith Rowe, who's the same price as McNeil was. But the only thing, I don't mind McNeil. Like, having McNeil, as I joked about before, he is McNailed for Everton. It's just that Everton have an awful run from 15 onwards. They've got Liverpool, Arsenal, Chelsea, and Man City all in a row. That's pretty much one of the worst runs of fixture. They also have United 2 games before, so they have United on 13. And around the United game, they've 2 decent enough fixtures, 2 home games, Wolves and Brentford. And Brentford away are awful, so I wouldn't mind having McNeil for that game. But you can't have everyone. That's the rule. And I'd more be concentrated if I also have sold Salah. Sorry, if I also don't have Halland, I can have Wood when I need him. Right now, I don't need him for the Arsenal away game, but you see the freedom of not having, Haaland, really, he's the one player that blocks an awful lot. Like he blocks that midfield 5, or 4. But I would much rather have a strong midfield than a strong forward line. Like the points are all in the midfield. They get the extra point for a clean sheet. They get the extra point for a goal. So if you've got midfielders racking up the points for you, that's where you got to be. But like if you have Semenyo who's on 46 points so far, he's 5.7. He's in a decent Bournemouth team who have decent fixtures. It's just the run of them comes in 2s and 1s. It's not that they really have a great run of fixtures. That's the only reason I'm looking at placing Semenyo. Apart from that, he's a good option. And the fact that I've 1.6 million in the bench. Now I'm not going to make it minus 12. There's no chance. I'm just saying that this will be what my team could look like coming closer to that game week 19 marker. That I would kind of be getting up around here. I would be looking at dropping off Kuna and having Jimenez. I'd be off Ant Nuri. Would I go to a Palace defender? I'm not sure. We haven't spoken about Brighton at all, right? And the reason for that is who do you go to? You see, I just don't trust Welbeck. He's 34. It's not that I don't trust him. He's a great player, but he's prone to get injured. Joe Pedro's only back from injury. I don't know how this is going to pan out. I really don't. I'm relying on a lot of information near to the ground kind of stuff, and I just don't like doing that. There's too much rotation. Ferguson also coming into that team. He's decent, it, it's too hard to call. Realistically, you want Matoma fit and ready, and that's who you take. You just get rid of Semenyo, get Matoma in, and there you go. There's your change, there's your few bob, and then you have him for a bomb out. You have him for Southampton, Fulham, Leicester, Crystal Palace, West Ham. That's what I think people should be doing, is looking at Matoma. Like if I restore um who else did I take out? Because I'm still at minus 12. I don't want to be at minus 12. I just want to think that, sorry, Wood. Yeah, it's minus 8 now, so that's fine. That's these three. But that is a decent team for the up and coming games. I wouldn't mind. You want to have, I think Matoma is a shoe in for week 13. If you've Matoma week 13, I think that'll be enough. I just think Welbeck will get injured. And Matoma is Matoma. He's been really good. Jorginho's been really good as well. To be fair, Jorginho has been a really, really great player, but just the minutes, look at his minutes. That's what I'm saying. He can pick up the points, and he can get them in. He got 11 against Spurs, 6-5. It's just his minutes is what I my concern is with him. Whereas Matoma is more likely to get those 80, 90 minutes. Okay, 30 in there, but he was injured. But that's what I think about Matoma. I think that he hasn't been maybe the player we're used to, but he'll still do the job for you. If you're watching him, he's a decent price. You can get him in. So that'll be Matoma, and possibly for week 13. I'm thinking. The only other thing I'm thinking about this team, right? So this is the -4, right? And I'm looking saying, okay, I'm guaranteeing that Tottenham at home, Liverpool away, right? That this is going to be worth a -4. My first hit is actually to remove one of the top scoring players in the game, in the history of the game, even. Like apart from Salah, he's right up there with, Halland can hurt you. So getting rid of Halland, the only good thing is I don't have money tied up in him really. I mean, I'm losing point 0.1 of a million or something like that. So I'm not too bad about it. But I won't, or don't think I'll be able to get him back easily. Like I think once I get rid of him, getting him back for 18 is going to be next to impossible. It's so easy to maneuver around him when you don't have him. You have so many options. Like I can upgrade a lot of defenders. I can get my midfielders right up to, as we saw there, like I can get him up to at home with no problem. Any of the decent players I can have literally without Halland. I have a starter from Liverpool, starter from Wolves. The if okay, there is Gordon who's likely to score, but Isaac on form is a quality striker. Kuna is a quality player all around. Kuna is absolutely. I think he's one of the best players in the league. I really have a lot of admiration for Kuna. Um, I don't think he gets enough credit. Kuna is really unbelievable. He's similar player to like Harry Kane. His passing, his vision, his control. I just think he's quality. Um, then we have Salah. Obviously, again, don't have to speak about him. Fernandez, when Fernandez gets going, it could say it's knee jerky from this, but if he's capable against getting this against a poor Leicester side, surely he's capable of getting something similar against Ipswich. You know, Surely he's capable against getting something against Everton. Like when you have Everton at home, so Everton on the road, they've not been great. Okay, then he's got Arsenal, Nottingham Forest, and City. So he's got three games where you're saying not great, But then he goes into Bournemouth and Wolves. So for those games, I'm just thinking, can I use Semenyo for those to cover him? Like when Fernandez has Arsenal, Semenyo has Tottenham. So for that week, you may be struggling. But then, you've got Fernandez against Forest, which is home, or you've got Semenyo against Ipswich away. So I don't mind. I actually don't mind Forest at home for Fernandez. I don't mind Ipswich away either, to be honest. So Bournemouth, I just think Fernandez is more likely to, he's more likely to actually get a high score than Semenyo is maybe. But I don't mind Ipswich away is a good fixture. Then with Palmer, Palmer and Salah, they're going nowhere from my team. Anywhere, like I actually don't. Doesn't matter who Chelsea are playing or who Liverpool or Chelsea are playing. They're in my team. They're set and forget. They're just not going anywhere now. Getting Saka in or out is kind of depending on my move with Fernandez and Mbumu. So what I do with these two, I've got a bit of money tied up in Mbumu, but I don't mind getting, I can go from Mbumu to Eze, and that might free up enough, with what I have in the bank to get Fernandez to Saka, or like I have it in the bank, but depending on my other moves, like what I do with Semenyo or whatever, do I upgrade my defenders? Because I need to be looking at what fixtures that Wolves have coming up. I don't really like Archer, but I don't have much options. Like if I go Archer to Wood, back up for that 19 run of form that we know that run of fixtures that's coming. Do you get, which is another question, do you go with maybe Ollie Watkins? Do you try him from for their games? Like they have some nice games coming up, and if you want to get on Watkins, I'd say this is probably the time to be giving him a shot. Just they haven't looked great. Like if I was looking at this without any knowledge of previous, Watkins would be in my team. It's just Villa haven't looked great. That's the only reason that Watkins can do it against poor teams. So I'd still kind of expecting him to pick up something, particularly in that game week 15, Southampton at home. I really think that's a game for Watkins. I don't think Southampton will be able to deal with him, even if he is tired and out of form. But that's what I'm thinking about doing. And to be honest, I'd be surprised if I don't do this. So my team should look around this. My captaincy choice, right, is between Salah, who has Southampton away, or Palmer, who has Leicester away, and it's going to remain on Salah unless something drastically changes. Palmer's great, could easily pick up a lot of fixtures, but I'm going to just go against Southampton. It is. I think all the good players are looking at targeting Southampton, and how I've kind of building up my game week, my team for game week 19 onwards. You can clearly see I'm targeting Southampton. I'm going pretty hard on it, even though I have one Southampton player. He's just Archer, as I said. I just can see his minutes improve, and from what he is last year, he's the same thing. He's just an enabler. I don't play him. I don't intend to play him. I don't think he's going to pick up too many points, but I do think he'll get the job done if we need him to. He might come in handy in the 1 week I need him, and there you go. He comes up with a goal. So that's what I'm thinking right now. Defense, I think just maybe do what I'm doing and just pump your money into midfield, cheap out on the defenders, and heavy on the money coming in midfield. Like Leicester have some decent, easy enough games as well. There's times when I can play, obviously I'm not going to play them against Chelsea, but they have Wolves coming up. They have West Ham. They have some fixtures where I can rotate maybe if I need to. I don't really see much things, but from 19 on, we'll be back on the Forest asset. So if you're thinking about, if you've got Wood, for example, I'd say hold him. Um, Bench him against Arsenal. Well, it depends on what your squad is. You could probably play him against Arsenal because Arsenal aren't really on form. You definitely want him for Ipswich at home. Then I'd say you probably want to move off him because City, United, Aston Villa, Brentford, Tottenham, they're not great. You could get someone else in. Look at a Welbeck. Now I know we did speak about him, but I'm just saying, Welbeck, Watkins, Isaac, they all have much better fixtures. You've much more opportunities around the place than sticking with someone who has really hard fixtures. West Ham's fixtures go nice as well. It's just, if you have Bowen, I think that's enough. I don't see too many options with West Ham. I'm just thinking maybe Ariola gets his place back for the nice run of fixtures that they have. So that's what I'm sort of thinking. But the crossover with them will be nice because as West Ham's fixtures go kind of nice, just as Palace's fixtures go bad, and then Palace's fixtures switch back over to nice again. But look, to be honest, the defense this year, every team's conceding. So you need the higher end keepers that you need a Raya, you need a Pope if you want to get more points from your goalkeepers. It's not worked out the plan with my keepers. My defense has done okay, and on and off it's done okay, but most of my points are coming from the midfield. So I'm thinking about capitalizing on that. Going with decent forwards. I will get Archer up eventually, but if I capitalize on the midfield, pack that out, get your Semenyo up, possibly the Eze. Then you've got a premium midfield. So I'll possibly go to Matoma in the short term for 13 onwards, and then I'll go to Eze. But I think Halland might be out of the team for the future. Getting back Halland is going to be impossible because game week 18 everybody's going to want him. So if I'm getting rid of him now, I'm pretty much committing to not having him when you're really going to need him. So I need to either get rid of Halland and maybe get rid of Fernandez for Saka, for a couple of the games where the United have difficult fixtures, getting Saka in from the 14th of December when they've Everton, Palace, and Ipswich. But even at that, like that's only avoiding the City game. Like Arsenal and United play each other anyway, coming up in 14, I believe. Well, that's my squad transfer thoughts, and to be honest, I don't see too many changes. The only thing I'm waiting for is flags, and then I'm gonna pull the trigger on that. So I'm reckoning it's gonna be my first hit of the season. It'll be a -4. Fernandez will be in, Isaac will be in, Halland is gone, and McNeil is also gone. Mainly, the main purpose of this one was, just to sum it up, was to get Fernandez into my team for two good fixtures coming up, and then a good run of fixtures coming up from in the coming weeks. I just think Fernandez, United under new management, I think that they might just turn it around. Another possibility could be Rashford. He's definitely one to watch because Rashford is down as a midfielder. He's 6.9, but he is highly likely to play up front. So if the new manager doesn't go with any of these, that's who's going to be up front. So midfielder playing out of position is something to watch. 6.9 million could be the option. It's just that he's not on pens. We know who's taking the pens. He might be on the odd free kick, but in general, it's going to be Fernandez. I'd say focus on Fernandez for now. If anything changes, it's an easy swap to get from Fernandez to Rashford. It's just Rashford has looked out of shape, out of form, out of interest, whereas Fernandez actually, he is Fernandez, and we know what he's capable of. Not to say Rashford isn't. A big fan of Rashford, but when Rashford's on form, he's out of this world. But when he's not, he really isn't. I would say thanks very much for watching, guys. You can drop a like if you're interested, or you can follow me by subscribing. Thanks very much, and tune in. I will do another video sooner to the deadline, maybe, but if not, I'll see you for game week 13. Take care.